So we find ourselves in Elysium. It's in full swing, and and Mason Cassidy is sat at the bar after his conversation with Anya. She has walked away and left him sitting there on his own, and he's just there mulling over a drink, contemplating the conversation that he's just had with her, and just sits there kind of with a slight grin to himself, but clearly in deep thought as he takes a sip of his drink.
For a while, William was probably sitting in the corner of the room, just watching the conversation from afar, waiting for either Mason to go off or Anya. Seeing that Anya split off, he was like, my time has come, and he hurriedly walks across the room to get to the bar and leans like a few feet near him to the side. He grabs one of the glasses of blood and takes a casual sip and looks to his left towards Mason. Hi.
Hello. I don't believe we've had the pleasure. Mason Cassidy.
William Crane.
Very nice to meet you. It's a night of new faces.
Many. Well, I'm quite an old face, but...
Well, new for me, I'm afraid. With all, I don't mean to disrespect you. New for me. I'm fairly young in comparison.
How young are we talking?
Well, in total years, 30. Kindred years, 3.
Oh.
I know.
Adorable.
It is quite intimidating looking at a room full of people who've lived for longer than you've been alive.
It is.
And then some.
It is quite intimidating at first, but you get used to it.
Yes, I'm finding that.
So, you're the Archon and newly appointed constable, right?
Yes, acting constable until the prince finds a suitable replacement. And which point I will probably, I assume I'll resume my roles as Archon.
Being an Archon, you've been spearheading the attacks on a long night, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I wouldn't say attacks. Right now we're in what's being referred to as phase 1, where we're trying to find information, find out who they are, where they're meeting, how they're meeting, get an idea of their numbers. The more information we have, the better the chance of uprooting them entirely.
He kind of looks around for the moment, and then points to pokes the table. It's a gesture of not demand, but I don't know the word for it, but it's pokes the table as you are going to need me.
You strike me as a man of resources.
Well then, you have struck gold, let's say.
Well, what do you have to offer, Mr. Crane?
Well, I'm good at finding out things, and well, I'm sure you saw the announcement at the parade.
Yes, I did.
Distract a lot of people.
I think it's an inspired idea.
It's definitely going to do something. It's going to reduce the paranoia of the humans.
Yes, absolutely.
But I want to help. I have friends. Well, I have my own conscience, let's just say that. And they will help me in whatever ways they can. So, if you need firepower, manpower, any sort of power, please let me know.
I will. As I said, right now, reconnaissance and information gathering is the priority. But,
What have you got so far?
well, I'm currently I'm in the process of recollecting the constable's information, what the constable had gathered. And what he was coordinating. I was not privy to all of his plans and the developments he was making himself. So I'm currently, as putting those pieces together and seeing where we stand overall. But from what I know, there are meeting places in Norlock, unsurprisingly, about union rooms in factory warehouses and such, and members that were stationed out in the yards, and St. Jude's as well is a hotspot that I'm looking to investigate. We need to find their leader. If we can cut off the head of the snake, it won't destroy them, but it will
Demoralize them.
demoralize them. They won't be as organized, and
decisions.
Exactly. That gives us time to that means we can either exploit their lack of direction and try and pin some of these more public events that have happened, pin on this militia, or we can start corralling them and
put them back in their pen.
Well, I was thinking more put them down.
Yeah. Well, if you want some investigatory company, I do like having a little bit of an adventure.
Well, two heads are always better than one, and I think St. Jude's is the next stop. I've received some information very recently, in fact, that their leader might be based in St. Jude's, so I could definitely use your help investigating.
Good. Do you have some sort of way of me contacting you?
Yes, of course. He pulls out one of his business cards and he just slides it across the counter. It says Sentinel Investigations, and it has a number on it.
He looks at it and he kind of like smiles to himself. Oh. Private investigator.
Yes.
Slots it into his pocket. What's the most interesting case you've ever had then?
Most interesting case I've ever had? Well, I don't think anything I did in life could really compare to what I've been doing these last few months.
May I pick your brain?
Of course.
So, well, what have you been investigating other than just this long night?
There've been a couple of. There's been a missing persons case, an escaped member of the asylum, the Atticus Brooks Asylum in Finches Park. I've been investigating that. There was the long night has taken up a lot of my time, and then there's been a few rumblings from the north, but I'm sure you are aware of certain implications of that.
So, the one thing that intrigues me is actually the escaped convict.
Well, not a convict, but a patient.
Patient. Where have you gotten with that?
I have, well, I've questioned members of the both fellow patients and staff at the asylum. I have further contact details for members who had direct contacts and knew the patient. So I just need to follow up with those and get some information on them. But given my current role, that hasn't had a lot of time for. I haven't had a lot of time to follow that up. Plan to soon.
I would say I'm very good at convincing people. So if you want help after the long night have been eradicated from our city, I might be so kind as to offer you a hand with this escaped patient.
That'd be a great help, actually. I've been working on my own for so long. It'd be refreshing to work with such a pleasant character.
He kind of like chuckles to himself at the pleasant part, um, and takes a long sip of the blood. And he does that annoying thing where he like slurps it as well.
Yeah.
Just to be like that bit of a dick.
Is there anything I could do for you in return?
Well, it all depends on the future, I suppose. If I do end up helping you out, and if I help you out in such a way that I risk my own, I would expect the same.
Of course. Of course. And this party of yours, you said you're formulating some kind of roadmap, parade going around the city.
Yes.
Certain areas will be probably more volatile.
We fully expect that, but
would you need any additional protection, or just someone around who can keep an eye on things?
We might have to have a few scouts or something, yes, to warn us. But if anything, having a little bit of violence might actually work a little bit better towards our favor. I don't understand why someone would really attack a parade, but
nor do I. But these are dangerous nights, and this long night is... I don't know if you've heard, but they've been bold and aggressive against members of our court. And
well, you don't have to worry about the parade because they won't have a clue if it's one of us running it.
Good. I have no doubt that with members such as yourself and Mr. Miramoto working on this, there will be something to see.
Of course.
But if in your planning you do, if it would help to have at least someone scouting out or keeping an eye on things discreetly, I can move quickly and stay quiet and inconspicuous. Will I be happy to lend my services? Well, the city needs this.
I do hope as well that if I do request your aid, you will probably be joined by one of my associates. Probably the happiest of the bunch, let's just say that.
Of course. Of course.
He probably won't be able to keep up, but you might have to drag him along, but that's fine.
I can keep pace with him. Don't worry. But keep it in mind. And I will keep in mind your offer. Absolutely.
Well, I really want to see what's happening. So please don't forget.
I won't. I plan on moving on St. Jude's very soon, so I'll let you know.
Of course. I probably won't answer the phone.
Okay.
I haven't grasped it yet. Phones are still strange to me. You will probably have one of my tech-savvy associates answer. If they act a bit brash or like a bit of a dick, then don't pay too much attention to it.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
They will have their own sort of things going on. They're real fun, really.
Well, don't we all have our own sorts of things going on?
Very true.
And I hear, I've heard some rumblings from, the lovely Miss Trevane has been quite vocal about your new club that you're looking to
I will be remaking an old club that I had that I was running for a few years back in the '60s. Have you been reading up on your history at all?
Haven't, I'm afraid.
Sinner's Paradise was a club back in the '60s, owned by me, of course.
Of course.
It was one of the greater clubs out there for us. To enter, you must always be in possession of a mask. You must always wear it. It's the sense of not being found out.
Anonymity, yes.
That's the one. I struggle saying things sometimes.
It's not a problem.
It was favoured among the kindred because, especially the Nosferatu, seeing as they don't have to show their face.
Yes, I can see why.
It had plenty of rooms for private rooms, so we could do our own business. And, well, it was going great, but obviously, if you stay around for too long, people start asking questions. Old me went on holiday for a bit.
And out comes the new you.
Oh, nice.
Well, I have to say I'm very glad to have met you.
Likewise, Mason.
And the Sinner's Paradise. That sounds very apt for this community.
Yes, but are you any good of names?
Maybe. Names for what?
Clubs can't be renaming it the same thing.
No. Well, I'm afraid not. That's not really my speciality, but I'm sure there are many here who could help with that.
William kind of slides his elbow across the table and leans in. Or if you think of any ideas, you do let me know.
I will. I'm looking forward to seeing you build this place.
Oh, it's already been built for me. It's just I need someone to talk to.
Okay.
I need to do a little bit of convincing. And he kind of leans away again.
Well, you strike me as a very personable individual. I'm sure you won't have any trouble with that.
Never. I never have troubles. Not me.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. The city's got enough troubles as it is.
Yes. Speaking of troubles, where's Travaine? Right? He kind of gets up and nods at Mason.
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too. If you need a person to talk to, then I'm all ears.
Thank you. Likewise. It's been a pleasure.
Goodbye. And he kind of strides off into the pie.
And Mason sits there, almost looking side to side to see if any other new faces wish to speak to him. And then he finishes off his drink and leaves the bar to go and mingle amongst Elysium.